You have a vision. I know you do, right? You have this idea in your mind about where you want to go in your life, whether it's a career or business that you own, or whether it's just what you want your life to stand for. Everyone has a vision of some kind. And in the journey of life, we're going to have moments where it feels really complicated to get to where we want to go. And so I love this idea about creating the vision of where you want to go and how you're going to do it. And today we're going to talk about why that's so hard sometimes, right? And kind of try to break that down by what we can do, how we can tackle that. And if you're a woman that's ever been on this journey, and I know I have been, I'll have a vision and then it'll change and it'll change again, it'll change again. And so one of the things that I'm going to be constantly kind of doing is being flexible to what's happening around me, because it's when my eyes are wide open that I'm really going to witness and experience things that are coming in that are likely not accidental, but really meant for me to step into. And so we want to keep this kind of expansive view of the collective and focus in on that journey to the things that we can be working within. And so if any of that sounds good to you, then hi, my name is Jen, the founder and owner of Laughing Lotus Wellness. I'm a transformational purpose coach and expert. And what I do is work with really brilliant women who are just feeling like they're in a space where they're stuck. They had a vision. They do have a vision. They had a vision. They got there. They probably need to make some sort of change. And they're struggling with that. And they're wondering like what their purpose is anymore, maybe like a little confused, stressed, strained, and ready to kind of move into a newer set of visions that they have for their lives and their legacy. And what we do is we work together to get really clear about where you've been and where you want to go, how we're going to do that. And I use that combining my unique set of coaching skills that I love to pull all together, just combines all of the areas of psychology and spirituality and energy and personal growth with my unique weird brand of humor and hope. And so that's kind of what I work, how I kind of work, and it's my vision. And so you're living into my vision. I mean, isn't that awesome? When you come and hang out with me here, you're living into that very vision that I have for my own life. And it has taken so many forms. And so one of the things I want to do, first of all, is say to leave space for all the forms your life vision will take. That we can get right. I want you to think in a very global way, like what is my impact in the world, right? And to know that what that really starts with is one step after the other, right? It's like we have to still put the pants on one leg at a time, right? Like the shirt one arm at a time. Like we don't just will it into creation. We've got to show up and we've got to have that vision to start, to make space for yourself to understand that that's going to happen in layers and that you will have to redirect your energy from time to time. You'll have to sort of recraft yourself, which I actually think is really super fun. And I get excited for that. It can be daunting and scary, just all your perspective. And so I wanted to start with a quote. I just thought this was really beautiful. This is by Veronica Corzo Ducart, and I'm going to quote her because I love it. So this is how we're going to start our day today. You can't do it all. You need to choose what's most important to you and go after it. And that can change at different points in your life. It's just what I just said. So it's important to be flexible and react to the moment. Put your efforts toward the things that are important to you and that you do best, and the things that only you can do. So in my business, I have a big vision. I have a big vision for where I want to go and the platform I'd like to create and the people and lives that I'd like to inspire, because I just want to inspire you to live into your greatest self and your purpose. And so that's a pretty big vision. It's a pretty grand notion, right? And so I have to then go in and understand where I'm the most useful and how I can best show up in my parts that are something that just I bring, right? So I'm going to hopefully have support on the things that email funnels. I'm just giving you examples of email funnels. My website, which I do myself, but my website, some of the backside of socials or how to market that, or right. So there's areas of my life that I could do in my business. I just had my VA say this to me. We were talking about service stuff. And she was like, you can do this because you're in it. I'm like in all the areas of my business, but she's like, but do you want to? I'm like, no, I don't. Because my zone for each of you, how I show up is the content. It's about the purpose. It's about the inspiration and the motivation. And so for me, that's my favorite part. My favorite part is in teaching and guiding and supporting people in their journey. And so that's why this is where I want to spend my time. It's the connection. It isn't about right the website, like who cares. I mean, it needs to function, it's important, but right, that's not my jam. So when I can have help on other pieces, I'm going to do that. So having a vision means getting clear on what you can and cannot do, where you are most important to show up, because you can't do all the things and successfully arrive, right? And so we really want to be thinking about that. So what gets in our way? This is kind of where I wanted to go today. Lack of focus. So if I have a grand vision and then I come at it and I do all the things, I mean, right? And like I do all the things, like it's really hard for anyone to really receive what I'm trying to put out into the world. So if I was like a radio transmitter, right, and I'm trying to send out my message and my energy, if I'm doing it all the time, everywhere, all the places, it's going to fizzle out. So I've got to be really clear. So today it's doing a live with all of you beautiful humans. So I show up and I do a live. It is in crafting and creating content for my membership. It's crafting and creating coaching content for my clients. It's showing up and doing training. It's showing up and doing live chats on what I do for a living and how I do it. So it's writing books. It's right. So it's creating podcasts. It's the stuff where I have to show up in it. I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? Those are the spaces where I really want to have my energy directed. So we need to be focused. So I will say that even having a grand vision, which is where I'd like you to begin, is like that grand vision idea. And then it's bringing that all the way in and tucking into the places that you really can begin to put the energy that's the most successful for you and for what you want to achieve. And so getting clarity around that. It's like, how can I show up the best way as me? And really put that message that whatever it is that you have that you're going to put out in the world, whether it's a direct service or something that you create, or maybe you're an architect, or maybe you're a lawyer, whatever it is, you show up and you're just doing it with your special, unique pieces of who you are and what you bring, right? That's where the magic is going to happen. The side stuff, not so much. And we're still going to do it. We're still going to have to do the side things, right? I still do things in my website and I do things, right? Creating content and posts, and that's all me. I don't hire somebody to do that. I'm doing it myself. So like, I'm going to still be doing some of that work, partly because I want a hand in it, because I want it to have my voice, but also that's just the way that it is. We're going to end up emails and write stuff. I mean, the things. Okay. So we know that that's true. And we want to think about what else can we do. So one area that's a struggle for us from time to time is lack of focus. So I need to know where I really need to show up. The fear of failure. And this is going to sound super confusing, the fear of success. So sometimes what I also run into is not only are people afraid that they're going to fail, but they're also afraid of success. Like, what happens and what do I look like if I'm a successful person? And always, always, always attached to our ideas like that are our stories that we have and those belief systems we've developed over time. And so lots of times, I know at 17, we had a really huge trauma in our family. And so I have developed an idea about success, and it can block me. So one of my thoughts can look like, if I get successful and make money, things will fall apart. And so I really want you to look at, right? So I can be afraid of failing, which I don't want to fail. I don't really necessarily look at it that way. My mindset is that everything is an opportunity. So like, right. So even when it doesn't go the way I want, that was an opportunity to grow and learn. But I will say this, that really, truly, the other thing that we can also be battling within ourselves is, I'm afraid to succeed. What the hell does that look like? What happens to me or my life, my relationships, my work, if I succeed? And so I think that sometimes we can also get in our heads that way. And so I'm going to put out there, as always, you've got to look at the stories and the ideas. Your mindset is everything. And so if there are stories or things riding around with you that aren't useful, you want to get really clear on that. And sometimes that is one of the best things we can do with support, because we can sort of think our ways around it, but lots of times it's actually really beneficial to have a coach or someone step in with you to take a look at those spots that might be a struggle. And also, then as you're doing your work, to kind of call it out for you. So if you're missing it because we've got blinders, all of us, our lenses, right? I always talk about this. Our lenses, we can have blinders on. And so we're just sort of like doing the thing. And so every once in a while, what I really, really appreciate is having my friends, my coaches say, that's not in your wheelhouse. That's not in your alignment. That's not meant for you. That's an old story. And they'll call me out. So if something is bubbling to the surface, I have my people, my support system that steps in and says, that's not for you. That's not for you. Why are you doing that? Right. So it's one of those great ways to make sure you're tapping into a resource, right? So this month, the way that I define create was, and I changed it. So that was fun. So this month I've been apparently creating all sorts of artistry, but I wanted to kind of just define it here for a minute. Curating vision and resources to expand actively towards evolution. Evolution just means growth. Don't get stuck on it. So all we're doing is growing. So what I want to do is I want to craft a vision for myself and the collective, the bigger picture, and have the resources to move into growth, change, and the vision I have for myself and for others. The vision that you have for others has to start with you. So I do have a vision for others. I have a huge vision for empowering women to step into their strength, their insight, their inner knowing, their talents and gifts to go and change the world. That is my bigger vision, is way bigger than beyond myself. But I also have to step that back then a little bit. Okay, that's the big global vision. The big global vision is that I want to create impact and legacy so that other women can step into theirs. So I hope to be a domino effect in other women's lives. So that's kind of that's my vision, big vision. And then I have to pull it in and go, okay, what resources do you have to do that? How are you going to tap into that? And so one of the things I would say is, we know that the limiting beliefs, fear of failure, fear of success, lack of focus, these are kind of the areas where we can get kind of like, they're like road bumps. So in our road bumps, we can go, oh, this is like, I'm stuck. These are some of the things that we can get stuck in. They are something that you can actively lean into changing. So here's some things you can do to change that. Literally have a vision. What do I mean? Visualize it. Sounds simple. This is one of those things for manifesting that I am a big fan of, is really truly helping you tap into the vision that you have for your life, your journey, your legacy and impact, so that you can experience it and embody it, if you will, almost. So I want you to be able to totally say, yep, this is exactly where I want to go. This is how I want to do it. This is the unique things that I bring to the world that I plan to utilize as my tools and resources to create that change and shift in the world. So we want to tap into that space. So that's exactly where I want you to go. And you're going to need the resources to do it. And one of them is visualizing literally where you want to go. So that's a really crucial element in that. I think we might have a momentary kind of like experience or moment in time where it comes forward for me and I can kind of see where I want to go, and then it flits off and out into the ether, if you will, right? Rather than really sitting in it, immersing yourself. And when you're visualizing, I want you to see it happening exactly how you would like it. I want you to imagine the people that would be there, the sounds, the emotions behind it. So what you're really doing here is we're talking about manifesting 101. And one of the most beautiful tools you have accessible to at all times is the actual visualizing of where you want to be. And if you talk to any successful person, they have vision. So they are visionaries, which is what I love crafting, is the visionary, is imagining what it can be like, imagining what it will look and feel like. And that has to feel really, like you feel it in your core. Okay. So manifesting through meditation and visualization is huge. You're going to have to lean in. You're going to be scared. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be uncertain sometimes, right? And in the journey, and I talked about it, in the journey to rise, which is what I'm really always coaching women in that journey, you're going to have to know who you are, how you show up, the strengths, the challenges that you bring, the spaces, the stories that are going to maybe sometimes every once in a while be a block. You got to remove the blocks. You've got to go in and do some work, really intentional work around removing the blocks and the stepping stones that seem to pop up for you. Whether that's a belief system about, like I said earlier, one of my stories was I get successful, we have money, and then everything falls apart. Well, that's a pretty dangerous way to have a relationship to my journey, to money, to abundance, to goodness and greatness. That's not going to help me, right? So when I feel that coming up, I've got to go, oh, I see you there. Nope, not today, Satan. And I got to call it out, right? I've got to tamp that down, or I've got resources and community and support that come in and say, that's old stories. That's old stuff. That doesn't belong here. We're going to clean it out. So I do energy work, or I do, my own coaching or whatever it is to help clear that space out so that I can be fully present. And so that's right. So leaning in, doing your own personal work, showing up to that, actively knowing what your blocks and your stories are that are going to get in your way, because that's mindset. So we've got to be working on your mindset to be able to lean in, let that fear, right? Part the fear seas. We don't want to be living in the middle of the ocean of fear and trepidation about where you're going, because that will be energetically tamping down where you want to go. So you want to think about this energetically. How do I want to show up energetically? If I show up with an open mind and heart, I show up ready to receive, which is one of the stages that I love working with women in, is being ready to receive. That's looking for the greatness that's coming in. But my work before that's going to look like manifesting, visualizing, dreaming it, and then putting my energy into focusing on that exact thing. And so we want to be really exacting, right? So it's that focus, it's that visualization, it's meditation, it's mindset. And so you want to be really right in that. And then I've said it several times, even in here, it's the people, the resources, the coaching, the communities, the groups, the people that you go to, your colleagues, whoever really lights you up. You want to have access to those kinds of resources as well. So not only podcasts, books, audiobooks, events, classes, etc., but you also want people to be around you that are holding space for your vision, and people that will tell you when you're out of alignment with your vision. And so that's where it's so important that you are clear, because if you are not clear and you can't convey it, someone can't hold space for that. An ambiguous thing like I want to create something big for my life. Well, big how? What does that look like? Does that look like you achieving being an author, being a best-selling author? Does it look like you creating a course that you lead? Does it look like you crafting a business that's going to create something novel and new in the world that we have and doesn't exist? That's one of my favorite things. If I see something missing in the world, it's one of my very favorite things. It's the rebellious soul I have. I'll just make it. I joke about it. I don't get invited to speak at a summit. I'll make my own. There's something that I have to say, I'll write a book about it. If I haven't found the community that I've always wanted and dreamt of to grow in, I craft it. Right? So this is the vision. The vision is, if I've been in the world and I've wanted something and I can't find it, I'm just going to make it. And not waiting for the perfect time, because that won't exist. The perfect amount of money, the perfect time, the perfect person, the perfect perfection in where you want to go is a myth. It's like the Loch Ness monster. Maybe it really exists. I haven't seen it. I'm just saying, right? That's what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel like the Loch Ness monster. It's a myth. The perfect anything to go do and live into your vision isn't going to happen. You will have all sorts of bumps in the road that will present themselves. And it will be easy to say, oh, I can't do this. And so that's the stuff where showing up with a deep well of faith that you are going in the right direction because you are receiving this beautiful messaging along the way that's like, yep, you're doing the things that this is exactly where you should be. And then trusting it and letting everything else go. And that's really hard because the fear and the doubt can seep in. And so you really have to kind of keep your eyes on the prize. You have to keep focused on where you want to go with that vision. I want you to see it. I want you to feel that. I want you to experience it. I want you to surround yourself with the people to hold space for it. I want you to lean in, step up, rise up into the person that you were meant to be with some trust and some faith, surrounded by love and kindness and cheerleaders and supporters. And so being really mindful about that. Your vision is not an accident. How you get there is the stuff where we want to start making sure we've got our minds wrapped around what that's going to take. And it starts in small steps. It doesn't come all at once. So things are in layers for all of us. We grow in layers, we heal in layers, and everything's going to come in that way too. And so just making space for it. We just want to clear space for those things to happen. And I want one of the things that I think is really powerful for me, we're busy waiting. We're busy waiting. I want you to start living. I want you to start creating. I want you to start crafting and curating. I want you to stop waiting for the sign, for the person, for the money, for the right. I mean, this is just true story. And you just start where you are. And because she literally says it so well. When Veronica says you can't do it all in one fell swoop. So starting to really create the steps. And I love, and I'm going to tell you what, I like starting at the top of the funnel, the big vision. This is my favorite. And I'm just being totally real here. I like at the very top of the vision. And then I'm going to work my way backwards. Okay, this is the vision. And what am I going to have to do here, 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 and here, and here, all the way down to the smallest component of what I'm going to need to do to bring it. And so I want you to think that way. What's the big vision? And then walk yourself backwards to where you can begin to start to curate that for yourself. What does it look like? What are the smallest action steps I'm going to take to step into that? Yesterday, I got a burr. I made my first podcast. I've been talking about it. I just made it. I was getting ready and I had this idea, right? This inspiration of something that I thought was on my heart that I wanted to share. I sat down and made a podcast. I was like, I'm just going to do it. I've been talking about it forever. I'm just going to do it. And this is what I'm talking about. And that is one way to get my message out in the world. I'm sending my messages out in social media, on a whole bunch of platforms, in a book, in summits, in podcasts, in TV episodes. So wherever I can show up, that's how I'm doing it. And so this is where I say, I want you to have a big vision, and then I want you to tuck it in, and I want you to figure out, where can you focus your energy, the best part of who you are and what you bring. That's where we start. We want to start with your whole heart and that whole energetic expression of who you are. That's what we want face forward. Because you all don't know me for the website design that I do. And you all don't know me for the networking calls that I'm doing on the side, and the coaching that I receive, and the healing that I receive, right? You know when I get in here and I can connect with you. Does this make sense? One, do you have a big vision for yourself? Comment for me. Do you have a big, grand vision for yourself? What is it? Are you brave enough to tell me what it is? I put this out there, and one of my friends said 100K. This is me. Yes. That's where I want her energy. I'm going to surround her in healing, love, and light. That's exactly where she's going to arrive. She will get there. So, and that's not her whole vision, her purpose, right? She's got a purpose over here. She didn't say that, but what she did say was, I want to make $100,000 this year. Yes, you do. And now we back it up, because she's a service provider. So the very best part of her soul is where that's going to be delivered. So that's where she's got to spend that energy. So I've got this thing and then I'm going to back it down. And how am I going to make that happen? I'm going to sell packages. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to present my message. I want to be present. I want people to learn from me. She has it down. That's what I want for you. What's your big vision? So please share. What's your big vision? Be brave. Be super brave. What's your big vision? And then what are the best parts of who you are that you can bring to that table? What are the best parts of you? Mine's my energy, hands down. Someone the other day on Facebook, and I was going to do it, but somebody already beat me into it and said energy. And I was like, meh. But I'm going to tell you what, if somebody said, what's the thing about you that you're bringing? I'd be like, the energy, the energy. Right. And so that's what I bring. And so my grand vision is to have a platform to empower women, to create legacy and impact, to put their purpose fully out there in the world with complete bravery and their strength and their talents, and to let themselves shine. That is my big grand vision. It's big. It's big. I want to speak to millions of people, to inspire and elevate and support so that you can elevate, inspire, support, right? So this is where I want to say, right, that's the grand vision. And then what am I going to do in the interim to get me there? So what is your grand vision? What is the unique thing that you bring? What are you bringing to the table? And then if you're willing, talk to me about what are the struggles? Because I have my list here, but I know you all have experiences that I would love to tap into. What are your struggles? I said self-doubt, fear of failure, fear of success, being too global and not knowing kind of one step to the next, right? That kind of lack of, and then mindset. Is your mindset right? But you tell me, what is your struggle? What do you find you bump into? You talk about it. I will bring content for it. I guarantee you. What is the struggle? You have something bigger to do. I truly believe that you always have a bigger vision that you can step and live into. You need the fire, you need the support to do it, right? Mindset, fire, support. So energy, we have to infuse it with energy. We have to hold the vision, and we need people surrounding us to help us do that. Okay. Those are the things. Okay. So for today, comment below. I want to know what your vision is. I want to know what your unique magic you're bringing. Okay. And then what struggles you have. So any of those three things are all bonus points if you do all three. I would love that. Okay. But I want to hear from you. These are my ideas. These are my experiences. That's what I speak to, is what I know. That doesn't mean that there aren't other solutions out there. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on this. Okay. So for today, as we close, I would invite you. I just launched a membership literally on Tuesday night. And I am so excited about this group of women. And what I want to invite you to do is to imagine what it might feel like to have a community space glued together by all things energetics. So meditations, all that kind of, right, that wheelhouse, and working on elevating and supporting yourself, surrounded by women who want to do the same thing. They want to grow. They want to live into their purpose. I am so excited by the energy that each of them is bringing. And so now is the time. You've been looking. I created this community because I couldn't find it. I'd find a community. I tried on. I'd find value. So this is not like, oh, everything sucked, because it didn't. I found some really beautiful community. There's people I'm friends with to this day from communities forever ago. So you take what you take. And so I found the value, but I wanted a place. And so this is, you have to listen in, right? This is for the heart. This is like, you have to listen. If it's a call, you'll know it. If it's a hell yes, it's a hell yes. If it's not, it's a no. But I'm just going to tell you, have you wanted to have big conversation and don't have anybody to do it with? Do you want to talk about integrity, philosophy, spiritual notions, so that it's the foundation of what you're growing into? I didn't find that. And so I'm very finicky about how that community runs that we have boundaries and safety and guidelines to kind of tuck everybody in safely so they can come in and feel that nurturing support and work and know that their job isn't to take care of someone else, right? I mean, so there's like, I have lots of self care ideas kind of hemmed in there so that women can come in and stand in their own light to support one another. So there is this very collective notion about why you're coming to that space. It's to help grow you, and it's really to help grow a community of women. So you can have the big conversations, toss it out there, talk about your purpose, and then be experiencing things that hold space for that energetic work, meditation, right? Tapping. So I toss in all the things I know into that to really hold space and to help these women grow with the idea that they will take it and they will have their own practices, they will have their own experiences. But we're creating a unified collective space, a sacred space to grow. Now, if it's a hell yes, that's awesome. Go check it out. Okay. So you can go check it out at laughinglotuswellness.com/membership. And right there is more information. I have a little video where I describe what the heck we do. It is seriously so powerful. So if you're looking for community like I was, and you're having a hard time finding the one that is going to provide the sacred space to do business growth, purpose work, but really in a spiritually minded way, that's what this is. So I really invite you, if you're a learner, if you're a scholar, if you want to be diving into deep conversation with people about things that really matter to you and how you show up in the world and what you can create in terms of impact, that's what this community is about. And so I would love to have you be a part of that. If that resonates, right? It's like if it lands in your heart and you're like, yes, great. And if not, totally get it. Come back next time. We'll be here on Thursday, right? So we're just going to be coming, just come back around and hang out with me here. It doesn't have to look like a membership. It doesn't have to look like you hire me for private coaching. But if you're getting something out of your time here, that's exactly why I show up. So I just would invite you to that. I would invite you to check out that membership piece. It's called the Rise Collective. You can go right to my website, and whether you type it in exactly so or you find the Rise Collective right there, you can click the button, check it out, and come and join us if you're feeling called. I hear a lot of women say they don't have this thing I've created. If it doesn't exist, I want to create it. This is my expression. Someone else would do it differently. That's beautiful. This is mine. So I want to invite you into that vision that I have for these women and that they have for each other, if that feels like something that would help you on your journey as you rise on your path to purpose. So my friends, sending you blessings, love, and light. Until next time, always at the same bat time, same bat channel. I invite you to engage in the comments below. Would love to hear from you about your takeaways from today. What are the struggles? What's your big grand vision? And what unique thing are you going to bring to it? Share it in the comments because people love to get ideas. Can you do that for me? Because I would love for you to do that. So until next time, my friends, this is Jen supporting you on your rise, on your path to purpose, and we'll see you next time.